I will read theology books. And sometimes the first time I'm exposed to them, it's like I'll be doing the act of reading and my mind is saying, oh, this is good. This is good. But I walk away and I don't even know. I don't even know what I read. So I experienced that again with Dietrich Bonhoeffer's, what is it officially called?
The Psalms.
Psalms.
It's a great book. I know I can say this. It convinced me the Psalms were good, but I didn't really start praying them.
Right.
That didn't happen until 2 years ago. And
that was something that was so interesting because he talks about how the heart cannot just pray by itself.
Yeah.
And that in American Christianity is so
verboten.
Huge.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you stop and you pray.
Yeah.
And then he talks about how prayer is not your wishes, your hopes, your laments, or your rejoicings. And at first it was like, what? But then I thought about it, and it's not that those things are bad, and it's not bad to put those things before the Lord, but that's not prayer, I think is his point.
Okay. So then what is prayer, did he say?
So it says prayer, well, here's one more thing that prayer is not. Prayer is not just pouring out one's heart.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that already?
Yeah, effectively. It's a good summary.
All right. So what prayer is finding one's way to God and speaking to him with a full or empty heart. So his point is you have to learn. So this was the illustration. You teach your child to speak. The father speaks to his child, and his child repeats what the father has said. So just in that way, like that we do with our children, a Christian needs to be taught by the Father, our Heavenly Father, how to speak. So how do we do that? Well, we go to his word and we have his word come back out of our mouth. So that was the idea of coming to him with an empty or full heart.
Right? So his talk about not pouring out your heart, not pouring out your dreams and your wishes and your feelings and all this is really going against the idea that it's about what you have on your own without him. Now, as he says prayer, then this is talking about prayer as prayer to the true God, prayer that the true God hears, as opposed to magic, false prayer, false worship, which humans do very naturally whenever we pour out our hearts to idols, and usually about and for our idols. And so it's not about prayer in Christianity is not about your heart. It's about Christ's heart in you as the Spirit's work to regenerate you as one who knows how to speak to your Father rather than to dead idols, right? And that way, then, if we want to define it real narrowly, I think it's kind of what you said. Prayer is speech to the true God. It's to actually talk to the true God. And just as you would not expect an infant to be able to know how to talk, so also a dead man cannot talk to the true God. He must indeed be raised from the dead with an entirely different spirit, right? In the Sons of Solomon channel, they were asking about, there was a good question about the use of crucifixes, and then why the Psalms, and here was the language. I couldn't believe the question was like just so primed. Is that why pray the written prayers of the Psalms rather than conjuring prayers up from your heart? And I thought, I can't believe you used the word conjuring for me. It's like you just teed that ball up right there. It's because it's magic. Because it's wicked magic. You're in fact trying to make God hear you by your own powers, and this is to manipulate God. And we can't do this, right? Whereas what the Psalter does, so well said, is it comes to you and God speaks into you what he has you be as a good, as a real, as his created person. And there, you're going to find your heart and your fear and your hopes. And it's all going to be there, only what? Not conjured. I mean, I don't know how to say it. It's a really, really well-asked question, you know. How come pray the Psalms? Because God wrote them for you to pray. And it's just sort of like crazy, actually, that people don't know this, and that the natural American Christian response is, but isn't it supposed to be from my heart? As if like Care Bear Stare, you know? I mean, what? You know, the heart is deceitful above all things, Jeremiah. And God looked down upon men in Noah's day, Genesis 6 through 10, and saw that the wiles of his heart were evil always from youth. Your heart, well, certainly the place of the conscience, we're going to talk about the conscience today, the place where the soul can experience regeneration or can know, can believe, and does believe. Like that's all true, but it's not the heart by itself that does these things. It is Jesus doing these things to your heart with his heart, right? With his spirit. Yeah.